Hey gamers, Brent with shortpause.com, and today we're going to do our reaction to the Xbox E3 2017 briefing that we just watched. We got to see the reveal of the Xbox One X, formerly known as Xbox Scorpio. But first, I want to take a second just to apologize. We tried to do the live stream, and there were a couple of issues going on with buffering and whatnot, and that's on me, and I apologize for that. It won't be an issue going forward while the stream was continuing to go on. And these guys carried it the best they could with very limited or very little audio and video from us. I do apologize for that, but going forward, it won't be an issue. It was a great show, and we're going to talk about it in depth here a little bit about a lot of the stuff that we saw. Obviously, the Xbox One X, we got a pricing, we got release date, and we had a plethora of games to see in this briefing. It was an excellent briefing from Microsoft. But Ben, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we've finished up the briefing now, and we're just gonna roll through everything that they talked about here. And obviously, first thing we need to start with is what was formerly the artist formerly known as Project Scorpio. So, like you mentioned, Brent, the official name of the console is the Xbox One X. It will retail for $499, as someone so correctly predicted on this very podcast.
Damn it!
$499. We have all of the accessories from your Xbox One will work with the Xbox One X, so it's a true member of the Xbox One family. All the games will play on there, as we know. And they'll be enhanced for the Xbox One X. So they talked about the super sampling, the for 1080p TVs. They obviously touted the true 4K gaming HDR. They stated that for a lot of the games that they talked about during the stream. Mm-hmm. I spent the first 10 minutes of the conference basically going over the stuff that was in the Digital Foundry article. So all the stuff that we had heard before, nothing new in terms of that. There are 3 pillars in terms of the Xbox One X: power, compatibility, and craftsmanship. Mm-hmm. So obviously we talk about the power in terms of the true 4K gaming, which is their buzzword for the Xbox One X.
Right.
Compatibility, being able to play all of the Xbox games throughout the library there. And then the craftsmanship. So this is they showed the box as well. Smallest Xbox One they've ever made. Wow. Which is interesting. Obviously, this is a beast of a machine. So I assume that means it's smaller than the Xbox One S. We didn't get an exact specifications in terms of that. It looks very similar to the Xbox One X, so it fits in with the Xbox One family. And then after they went from that, they went into the games there. Mm-hmm. So guys, talk to me here. So Xbox One X, how are you feeling about this reveal? Brent, kick us off, man.
Overall, from the system itself, obviously $499, a little bit higher than what I had predicted, which I'm okay with. But the look of it, I think it looks really nice. Obviously, you said this is the smallest Xbox One they've created. But with everything that's under the hood, that's impressive too. But I like the price, $499. That's doable. I feel like if they'd gone over that, we would have had some issues. But $499, considering all the specs that are inside, I think that's a good price for it. It's a fair price for it, and I'll be picking it up on November 7th.
Better initial impressions of the Xbox One X.
It's cool, but I don't feel any different about it now than I did before they announced it. It's not really aimed towards me because I'm not the tech guy. I like tech, but I'm not like the guy who cares about graphics and the highest of resolutions and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not in a hurry to get a 4K TV. It's probably going to be years before I ever get one of those. So I don't think I'm going to rush out and buy the One X, but it does look cool. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to buy it, but it's not going to be something that I'm going to be clamoring to get right away.
Okay. So Frankie, name, specs, price, box. What are your thoughts on all this stuff?
I'm not super crazy about the name. I was personally hoping they would stick with Xbox Scorpio. I felt like that was a fitting name in and of itself. It's the name you've been talking for the past year. Price is, I was with you. $499 is exactly where I expected this thing to come in. And I mean, like I said before, if what's in that thing, that's a damn good price for this thing. It's a nice looking system. The One S obviously is a much nicer, much more compact Xbox One. So having something even smaller than that with what's in that thing is kind of crazy to me. But I thought that the liquid cooling thing they have in this sounds pretty neat. So maybe it'll be a lot more quieter because of that. Because I think that's not running fans; it's a different thing altogether. But yeah, I mean, I'm still, I'm not going to be running out getting one of these right away. I still want to hear about VR, and like Bender, I'm not buying a 4K TV anytime soon. I just picked up my 1080p TV last December, I think. So obviously, for the people out there spending the $2,500 or whatever on a good 4K set, like you'll probably be happy spending the $500 on this console.
Yeah. I mean, 4K TVs have actually come down considerably, Frankie. So you can get a good set for between 500 and 1,000 now in terms of the 4K. So they're gonna continue to get the mass market penetration in terms of the 4K. So that's why you see Microsoft and Sony trying to get out ahead of the curve now. As far as myself for the actual system itself, this is everything that I expected, honestly. So the machine itself, we knew the specs of it from the Digital Foundry article. Richard Ledbetter, he so subtly hinted that the system was going to look like it belonged to this family of consoles. So I had an idea that it was going to look similar to that. The price, this is what I expected. I mean, just looking at it from a nuts and bolts perspective, I know it's not exactly apples to apples. These are custom pieces that go into these units. But looking at the 12 gigs of RAM, the 6 teraflops of power, something comparable to like a slightly under like a 1070 GPU, which is a $400 graphics card. So just looking at that, and then the 4K Blu-ray drive in there as well. Just looking at those raw specs, like it's just like, man, like there's no way this thing's less than $500. I've thought that way all along. So this is pretty much exactly what I expected from a hardware perspective. And I don't know if you guys noticed it, but during the entirety of the stream, the only time they ever mentioned the frame rate was when they demoed Forza. So it was the only time they ever said 4K 60 frames. Other than that, everything was 4K and UHD and HDR. Like they put that in the corner for almost every game that they showed that they wanted to tout as being part of the Xbox One X. So that just leads further credence to what's been the messaging for this thing. This is a 4K device. Like this is not a device for increased frame rates or things like that from your games. Like this is a machine that first and foremost is designed to play your games in 4K. It's got to play the same games as the regular Xbox One. So anything that's multiplayer focused, they can't change the frame rate on those. So this is a system that's designed to play your games at a higher resolution first and foremost, and that's really going to be the driving message behind this thing. So like you mentioned, Frankie, if you don't have a 4K TV, if you're not planning to get a 4K TV, like there's really no point to getting this. That's really what it comes down to. Other than the super sampling, you get on the 1080p, that's cool and all, but is that worth going out and getting a $500 system for? Probably not.
Yeah. No.
So, yeah. So, anything else you guys wanted to say about the raw like hardware? No. Cool. All right, we'll move on from there. Now we got our first game they went into was obviously Forza 7. So we all knew this was going to be there. I don't think there's been any E3 conference without a Forza game at it in who knows how many years. But they're putting these things out annually between Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon. So we saw Horizon 7 in action. Beautiful looking title. So native 4K display, 60 frames per second. The weather effects in that game look outstanding. So just a gorgeous looking game like Forza always is. And as we anticipate, this will be a showpiece title for the Xbox One X, a game you can pull out, and even if you're not a racing fan, like something you show to other people and be like, look what my new Scorpio or Xbox One X can do. So got that. We got more than 700 cars. October 3rd release date, as rumored, came true. It looked great. I don't know what more to say about Forza. Anything you guys wanted to say about it? Frankie, I know you were impressed with some of the weather effects you were watching as well.
Yeah, the weather effects in that game look awesome. And I think even they're showing getting towards the end of one of the races and the weather starts clearing up, like the rain's slowing down. You have all the water on the racetrack. You got the sun rays just kind of creeping through as the clouds are starting to dissipate. Like it's a beautiful looking game.
Yeah, those dusk shots were really impressive. Bender, you or Brent have anything to say about Forza?
I think it looks pretty cool. Definitely some good looking graphics right there. I'm not a big racing fan,
Yeah.
racing guy, but I still enjoy watching those games and stuff like that. So I thought it looked good.
Did you rush out to the store, grab a Scorpio and a Forza 7 to show off to all your friends?
No, not so much.
Nah, not happening with that.
I,
Brent,
no, I
you
thought
like,
it was
you like a good tech, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love, I'm a tech whore, and that's why that's the main reason I'm going to go out and buy a Scorpio. But an Xbox One X, I gotta stop. See, I like that Scorpio, man. I like the Scorpio. It sounds sweet, but
Xbox One X, also the abbreviation for that is Xbox.
yeah, it is because if you go X B O, yeah, clever.
So,
Nice.
But no, I think like you mentioned, dude, when it comes to new tech, new consoles, racing games are like the go-to to really show it off, to really say, man, look what this thing can kick out in terms of visuals. And obviously Forza 7, it looked fantastic in this video. It looked gorgeous, like you guys said, the weather effects out of this world, the dusk shots and all that. It's just a beautiful looking game, and this will definitely be a game that I'm sure most Xbox owners will definitely want to get. I suck at racing games. I might even pick this up just so I can. It's almost like when I pick up MLB The Show for PlayStation. I just turn it on, look at, admire it, and then turn it off, and I'm done. So I mean, this game looks gorgeous, and I think there's gonna be a lot of people that pick it up so they can kind of see exactly what the Xbox One X can do.
Cool. So that will be money well spent for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So from there, we moved on to 4A Games and their new Metro title,
Yes.
which was one of the extended gameplay demo sessions that we got. There wasn't a ton of them during the presentation, but this was one that they spent a little bit of time on. So you got to see a chunk of the game. Obviously this post-apocalyptic dilapidated landscape that we come to expect from those games on full display here. Looked gorgeous. They said it was running on the Xbox One X during the presentation. Metro Exodus is the name of the game. It's coming in 2018. I don't know how many of us are familiar with the Metro franchise on this podcast, but I know you are, Frankie. So talk a little bit about what you thought about Metro Exodus.
Yeah, so obviously the thing I was curious about when they started showing the game was I was wondering if we were going to continue playing as Artyom. I think he's been the main character throughout that series. I didn't play 2033, honestly, so I only dabble with it a little bit, but I played through Last Light. I love that game. A lot of it takes place, underground in the metro. But this one I thought it was cool because you're getting out of there, so now you're out in the open. And I know there were a couple of parts of Last Light where you're kind of out in the world, like a couple parts during the day, but most of them you're kind of at night, and it's this really bleak, landscape. So seeing this part where you're hopping on a train, getting out of there, that whole thing, that looks awesome. It's a beautiful looking game, and man, dude, I am so excited. That was the game to show me to get just hype level through the roof.
Yeah, good looking title. Brent, what do you think about Metro, man?
I thought this looked rad. This is another game I definitely would pick up at some point. And, the Metro games are awesome. They're very tough. They're very difficult. They're very beautiful games. They got thick stories. And this looks awesome. I mean, this looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gorgeous game was running great, too.
The really cool thing for me, though, is those games are very atmospheric.
Yes.
And just everything, the particle effects, just the sense of detail in the environment that they're able to portray on the One X, it looks phenomenal. So I think playing it on there, or I assume the Pro is going to have some better visuals as well, but getting that type of experience, that's going to be really beneficial to that game, playing that thing on the One X.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing, if you talk about immersion, and this is so dumb, but I tried doing this, and it actually adds to it. But when you play Metro, turn on the Russian voiceover track, and then just turn on subtitles. Man, that really puts you into the immersion, man. When you got everyone speaking Russian, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. So so Metro Exodus looks good. 2018, that's all we got on that. So don't know, early, middle, late, not sure yet. But probably a later title in 2018 for that one. Moving on from there, we were finally exposed to the worst kept secret in gaming, Assassin's Creed Origins. We got our first look at the game. We saw some pyramid climbing, some sliding down the pyramids. We saw some combat, some horse riding, some stealth. We saw it all. So everything we expect from an Assassin's Creed game, the talk with this game has been it's taking some influences from The Witcher in terms of its open world design. Which, I mean, why wouldn't you with the success of that game? So I anticipate more and more people will tap into that style of game. So Frankie, once again, you're a big Assassin's Creed fan. Your thoughts on Origins from what we saw here?
It looks impressive. I like that you're going to be kind of doing more stuff on horseback. I noticed one of the things, like when you were walking around the city, you have all these kind of question marks, which The Witcher has an unbelievable amount of, because it's all these different locations you can go to do activities. So I think if they're going to be borrowing some stuff from The Witcher, like especially with side content, that's awesome for Assassin's Creed. But that game looks phenomenal. I like how you can toss the bird up, and that's kind of, I guess it's an eagle, right? Because it's always been eagle vision, so it makes sense if you're throwing an eagle up there. But
got some high tech eagles back in ancient Egypt. There,
I'll say. But no, man, seeing them do that and like kind of honing in on different enemies, I felt like that's probably a really good solution for them, because I think a lot of people don't care for like the missions where you're supposed to kind of tail behind people, where you're kind of listening in on their conversation while you're trying to stay out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like the perfect solution for that, is just toss an owl up and just hone in on their conversations. But yeah, I'm excited. Like, it looks like it's going to be a lot more stealth focused, a little more assassin-y, if you will. So
Yes.
that's cool. I don't know how much of that stuff you're gonna be able to do in game, like launching yourself like off of a horse or jumping into the air, you go into slow motion, fire an arrow right into somebody. They have like a double takedown system, kind of like Far Cry has, where you can take someone out and then toss a knife into somebody. I think a lot of the just kind of assassin-y aspects of the game, I felt like they're finally kind of coming into what I think a lot of people have wanted from that series since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. Looks awesome.
So can we expect this game to explore like the beginning of the conflict then between the Assassins and the Templars? Is that something you as a fan of the series have been looking forward to for a while?
Kind of. I mean, I actually kind of like the arc. I'm familiar with not Ezio. I want to say Ezio, but it's the real world dude. Guy Nolan North voices.
He starts with a D.
Desmond.
Desmond. Yeah.
So I mean, I think a lot of that stuff, like the real world, what's happening here, like why is this, we're trying to extract this information from so the Templars can get, like, all that stuff sounded really cool. I didn't feel like it had a really good payoff. So I think if they're going to kind of essentially reboot it and kind of revisit it from the beginning, like, I think they could actually go in there and do some pretty cool stuff with that story. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
So do you think this might be like a full-on reboot of the storyline then?
I would say so. Yeah, because it's definitely a complete departure from what we saw with Syndicate. So I can't imagine they're gonna. I don't even. There's a weird. All the Assassin's Creed games have this kind of weird, like, real world thing happening, because all the game takes place in like a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that. I don't know if they're going to kind of reboot that aspect of it. I kind of want them to, because I'm not really interested in whatever's going on with this. You're the initiate and all that crap. I don't care about that. But I mean, I'm just interested to see, like, the origins of this conflict between the Assassins and the Templars, because obviously that's been the main, kind of theme running throughout the Assassin's Creed franchise. So
cool. Bender, we talked about jumping off pyramids in Assassin's Creed Origins. Looks like you can slide down like we were talking about. What you think of what you saw from that, man? Any interest in this one?
Possibly. It looks pretty cool.
You can slide down a pyramid. Huh?
Sold. No, I liked what I saw. It seemed pretty cool.
Yeah. Brent, any interest in this one?
I didn't spend a whole lot of time with Unity or Syndicate, and this looks really, really good. And this might be one of those games, one of the times where I'll get back into Assassin's Creed. Depends. What's the date on this one?
October 27th.
Man, it's tough to
that release date.
I know it's tough because we got so many games coming out this fall, and I'm a Destiny 2 is going to be my main game, but this is something I wouldn't mind getting into at some point, man. Like I said, I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed 2. That's probably my favorite one out of all of them. But seeing Unity, and I know Frankie mentioned that Unity has come a long way. Syndicate's it's very, very good. But this is probably the one I'll get back into if I get back into any of them.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a very large game. So looks like this possibly be maybe the biggest Assassin's Creed yet. Hey, Frankie?
Yeah, the another thing I just thought of that I wanted to mention was um after he kills one of those dudes, he kind of picks up his bow. You've never been able to do that in Assassin's Creed. You could never kill someone and take their weapon.
Yeah, I saw they showed a couple screens of the weapons too. Looked like they had some stats on them. Is that a newer thing for the
Yeah.
series then?
Not completely. Like there are like Syndicate especially has just a ton of different like swords, canes, brass knuckles, stuff like that. And each of
Mhm.
them as they get more obviously more powerful as you're leveling up. So
Mhm.
the stats will increase. You'll do more damage. Deflect more damage and whatnot. So I don't know how much deeper they're going to go with that, but I thought it was cool that you can actually pick up new stuff and acquire stuff that way instead of saving up money and paying as you to unlock stuff as you level up.
Right on. So once again, October 27th on Assassin's Creed Origins, finally revealed. We'll probably see this again tomorrow at Ubisoft's conference, I would assume. So we'll see how that all pans out. But from there, we moved into a couple of smaller titles. We got the large hit Player Unknown's Battlegrounds, which if you've been following this game at all, or you've probably heard about it. It's a big time hit on the PC right now. It's one of these battle royale games they call them, which always sounds very intriguing. The whole premise behind this game is there's I think it's 100 players. They get dropped into this map, and then from there you just got to figure out how to survive, how to be the last man standing. So it's a mad scramble when you first get in the map to find a weapon, and then to kind of make your way around there and take out everybody else who's in there. So it's a very very intriguing concept, and I know it's gaining a lot of traction on the PC. They've been talking about bringing it over to consoles for a while. So we saw that one. That's a console launch exclusive for the Xbox One. It'll be out later this year. And then we saw Deep Rock Galactic, another console launch exclusive. This is from I guess Frankie, you said former developers of Max and the Curse of the Brotherhood or whatnot.
Yeah,
Or
was
some
that like
some of the games that they worked on.
Play Studios or something like that? Press
Yeah, I don't-
Start or
Yeah, Press
something like
Play
that?
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that team though.
So they disbanded that team and then remade the team to make another Xbox game.
I guess, yeah. I mean,
Seems
Microsoft closed down that studio, so I don't.
seems
I
like a
don't know.
roundabout way to go about it.
Yeah.
So any guys have anything to say about either of those two games? Anything stand out to you about those?
Not really.
No. Cool. Let's move on. So then we saw State of Decay 2. So this is one we anticipated we would see, one we've been waiting for a while. We saw a decent snippet here. We saw some very very gruesome snippets. we saw a large zombie just rip some dude in half, and his body parts just flew all over the map. So that was interesting. We saw some of the third person action gameplay. We saw a little bit of the kind of city building aspect of the game in there. I don't have any experience with State of Decay, but from what I understand, it's primarily a survival game where you've got some combat with some of the zombies out there, but a large part of it is maintaining your civilization, protecting your survivors, and trying to build up that aspect of the game as well. Brent, what you think about what you saw from State of Decay 2, man? I don't know. Did you spend any time with the first one?
I did. I picked it up because I was curious, and I didn't particularly think it was a good-looking game. I didn't think it played very good either. But I know there are a lot of people that are into these types of games, and they love the management side of it. That part kind of put me off as well. But it's the same with Days Gone. Just these open-world zombie games just aren't doing it for me. I mean, I'm sure this will be a great game. I'm sure the fans will love it, but it looks good. It's incredibly gruesome. The tone fits the theme. But this isn't something that I would jump into.
Yeah. Frankie, any interest in this one?
Not really. I was told the first one's very resource management heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It is,
That's not my bag, so I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really see anything in this trailer that really jolted my interest in this one, so we'll move on from there. The Darwin Project was shown. Frankie, day one for you? Esports?
About through my headphones. I right off my head. I was like, nope, I ain't listening to this guy.
That was so weird. So they brought out the Darwin Project, and then they just jumped right into the game. A dude's on stage just screaming for 2 minutes. then it's over. Then they move on to the next game. I was like, wow, what the hell just happened?
Is this another one of these battle royale games? I'm assuming.
I have no idea. It's some kind of a third-person action game. They get in there. We saw a couple guys fight, guys yelling on the stage, and they moved on. I don't know what the hell the Darwin Project is, but it's a console launch exclusive. and it's made with esports in mind. I'm guessing this is maybe a MOBA, something along those lines. Maybe like a Smite or one of those kind of games.
I mean, just by the gameplay, this looks like just a battle royale game. Like these guys are just beating each other up. I don't know. I don't know what this is.
I think the twist is that it has interactivity with Mixer.
That was
like
the twist.
At one point, the girl, the main character, was like shooting at this one dude, and then then I guess somebody from Mixer like pitched in to give the dude an invulnerability shield or something, so like the audience can actually have an effect on the flow of battle.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds terrible.
It's still esports, and it still doesn't interest me.
Come on, man! What's up with esports? That guy was energetic, dude. The guy that was calling it out, that was great.
Yeah. Good for him.
That was horrible.
You know how I
him to shut up.
You know how I interact with Mixer? I'm like, hey guys, you want to play Destiny?
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, so we got the Darwin project there. Then we had a Minecraft segment. Interesting. I want to ask you guys about this, but they appear to be uniting the entire Minecraft universe from phones, iPads, consoles, all together under one umbrella. With cross-play they had mentioned in there. So this is pretty big, right? If this is actually the case, I mean, we're Xbox and Switch and PlayStation and PC and phone, like they're all playing together. Like this is a pretty big deal, right?
Well, this is what we've been talking about. I mean, this is what Rocket League has been trying to achieve. You know, if everyone on all these consoles and all your iPad or your iPhone, your PlayStation 4, the Switch, we saw a Switch in this trailer. If everyone can play together, is this the beginning? Is this how we're going to start seeing us start to open up to other games? This is Rocket League up next. I mean, it's just very strange that you would allow for Minecraft. I understand Minecraft because it's the same damn game on every single platform, essentially, other than up-res for consoles and such. So it's probably not too demanding to get everyone in the same world. But it's just, I got to believe this is opening up the floodgates for everybody else. At least this is the jumping off point.
It's also Mojang, which is owned by Microsoft now. So
this is true.
Just with the size of Minecraft, like they're not going to cut that game off from other platforms, no matter who owns that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, we're talking a game that's been in the bestseller list ever since it came out, however many years ago now. And I think it's funny that they had a Switch in the trailer. You better believe it was over their dead body. You'd find a PlayStation in that Minecraft world. They threw that Switch in there though. Frankie, what do you think about this, man? This is kind of a big deal, like bringing everything together under one roof. I know it's Minecraft, and we don't really give a damn about that game. But this is a big deal if this happens.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is. I just I wish it would have been Rocket League. Like I wish they were the ones up there making that announcement that it was happening. I don't understand the appeal of Minecraft, and I mean parts of it. I almost wonder if PS4 is going to fall under that umbrella because obviously they mentioned the Switch, and that's consoles, right? So a part of me wonders if PlayStation's even on board with this. I say that because they started talking like all user created mods, all this stuff that typically we saw with how Fallout 4 panned out. PlayStation doesn't work well with on their platform. So I wonder if PlayStation like Minecraft players are included under that umbrella. Right.
I'd be curious to see what that is because it's. I mean, obviously we don't know the specifics of it, but it's been under our impression that based on what we heard, Sony was the one that wasn't quite ready to jump into this yet. So I mean, I'll be curious to see if PlayStation 4 version is included in this.
So Minecraft also going into 4K. So we've all been waiting for that. So kudos to them for that. The free 4K update arrives this fall with the super duper graphics pack. Bender, how excited are you for that?
Woo!
Did you see the pristine 4K Minecraft graphics?
I know.
Did you see the difference?
Those 4K cubes looked amazing.
All right, so we'll see more about that. They weren't too heavy on the specifics with that, so we'll keep our eye on that. But interesting nonetheless. From there, we saw Dragon Ball Fighters. Is it Fighters or Fighter Z? I feel like it's Dragon Ball Z, and the Z is like big at the end. But I've seen people writing it as Fighters, so I'm gonna assume it's Fighters. Early 2018 on this. This game looks incredible. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Arc System Works fighting game. So Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue guys stepping in and making a Dragon Ball fighting game. Yeah, sign me the hell up for that. we won't dwell on that too long though. That was announced prior to E3, but game looks just phenomenal. So keep your eye on that. Then we saw a string of like smaller titles here. Well, smaller in just the downloadable sense or the first party sense. But Black Desert is a huge MMO game on the PC right now. That's making its way over to the Xbox One console launch exclusive. It'll be on there early 2018. The Last Night, a very, very cool looking pixel art like adventure game. Console launch exclusive. Don't have a date on that one. The Artful Escape, a whimsical looking adventure title. Coming when it's damn ready. That's a console launch exclusive as well. So any of those games stand out to you guys? Bender, Frankie?
I thought the Black Desert looked really cool. It was like a kind of
really good looking
type of MMO thing. I thought that was really cool looking. I like the Artful Escape as well. I think that one looks very interesting. Very cool art style. I love that hand drawn type of stuff.
Yeah, gorgeous looking game.
Was this the same reel that had Tacoma and Cuphead and all that stuff too?
No, that was a little bit later. But
oh, okay.
If you want to talk about them now, you can.
Oh, sure. I mean, I know I've talked about Tacoma before and Cuphead as well, though. I'm looking forward to both of those. I'm glad even though we didn't see much from Cuphead in this particular presentation, I'm glad we finally have a release date for it. It's a game that's been gestating for way too long. So
yeah,
I'm glad it's finally coming out, and I hope it's good. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, those stood out to me as well.
I personally thought it was a little weird how they did Cuphead, and they showed like 10 seconds of the game, then threw a release date up, and then they just moved on. Like you said, I know it's been out there for a while, but a lot of people are wondering about this game. There's been all this talk about it was originally a boss rush game. Now they're making it into a platformer, and the levels haven't been going well from some of the hands-on impressions that we've got from the game. So I'm a little worried that they just threw a 10-second clip up there and then just moved on from it. It's almost like, well, let's just get Cuphead out. Let's get this out of our system so we don't have to talk about this game anymore. Let's just move on. So I just felt like if they were like that proud of the game, or if they really were in tune with the direction that it was moving, that they would have showed us some more of that game and kind of calmed down some of our fears. And they didn't do that at all. So I'm a little bit worried about how that game's going to turn out now. And you guys feel the same way?
For a game that a lot of people have been asking about, that was a very strange showing for it. Like you said, it was very brisk. Thankfully, we do got a date, but I mean, for a game that was so hyped up when we first revealed it, we saw a lot of it then. We saw, again, another little kind of a hype trailer the last time we saw it, and now we just kind of get this, oh, hey, it's coming out September 29th. It's just like, I feel like the Xbox community specifically has been really excited for this game. I would have liked to seen like a whole level or like a small gameplay snippet, like actual gameplay walkthrough. Yeah.
I mean, if you're making this into like a game with levels and it's not the boss rush mode that it was originally designed to be, like show us what this thing is now, so we have an idea of what we're getting into. Because all I've heard personally about this game is that the levels were not fun. Like when people were playing them, they were not what they wanted out of the game. The bosses were cool, and it was cool when it was a boss rush mode, but then people were begging for levels and to them to expand on the game. And when they started to expand on that original vision, it wasn't working out as well. So I don't know. So we'll see how.
$19.99, by the way, for Cuphead.
$19.99.
It has local co-op in it as well. I did not know that.
No online co-op.
Nope. You play as Cuphead or Mugman
Cuphead.
in single or local co-op. They describe it as a run and gun action game, heavily focused on boss battles.
Yep. So at one point it was a run and gun action game only focused on boss battles. So yeah, September 29th on that. Finally have a date for that. I mean, this must be 4 or 5 years after the game is been announced now, right? By the time this eventually releases.
Close
This
to
is
it.
one of the first things we heard about on the Xbox One. So Barry, you also mentioned Tacoma in there. We got a small snippet of that. August 2nd. Got a release date on that. Obviously a console launch exclusive on the Xbox One X. What do you think about what they showed there? I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to go off there. Very awesome song in that trailer, by the way. But,
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I could gather from it.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot to go on, but I mean, I already know enough about that game to be sold on it. And, it's the next game from Fulbright Studios, the ones who did Gone Home, which was a really cool story based first person game. So this is going to be takes place on a space station, and you're still exploring in first person and learning a story, but this time it's via these like hollow logs that you're like following these holograms around and listening to the people as it's a log of what happened to the people on the space station.
Yeah.
So it's going to be super cool. I'm really looking forward to it. If their last game was any indication, it's going to be a really great story and a cool experience. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. One of the other big curiosities we had with this Microsoft conference was Sea of Thieves, a game we're all still trying to figure out what this game is, what it's about, just what in the hell are you actually doing in this game. Now, I will say this showing here was much better than the last time I saw this game with the group of people who were, whatever, the streamers who were in the boat and that was kind of a disaster reveal. But this actually looked cool. Like the game looks much better than when the last time we saw it. Graphically, it's coming along well. Looks to be running pretty well. The whole blasting yourself out of a cannon and kind of the ship stuff, being able to just jump, dive underwater, find treasure. Like all of that stuff looked cool. I still don't really. They had a map as well. They were kind of following this, these clues to get to this treasure chest and dig it up. Like that was all cool. I still don't know what the point of the game is. That's still, I think, lost on a lot of people. Don't know exactly how the moment-to-moment gameplay is going to work or how exactly what the overall point of the game is. But I will say this was a much better showing. Did you guys get that same vibe, Bender, Frankie, either of you?
I did. I agree. I think it was a much better showing than what we've seen previously. I did like I was intrigued by what we saw. I still would like to know more about the moment-to-moment gameplay and if there's some sort of objectives. Because I still feel like if it's a game where you're just like out in the world, you just have to figure things out and kind of aimless and don't really have any idea of what to do, it's not going to be something I'm going to want to get into. But if they have if they give you the option to explore around but still have set objectives for you to go towards and things to work towards, then it'll be much more interesting and keep my interest for longer. But I guess I don't know. They haven't really gone into detail about that yet, but I definitely was more intrigued today than I was previously about this game.
We saw a little more of like the rare whimsy too. Like the narrator was had some nice snarky quips and whatnot. So that was good to see. Frankie, did this sell you any more on Sea of Thieves? Any more interested in the game than you were before?
Nope.
Cool. Thanks, bro. Brent, did you get to see any of this?
Yeah.
I know you were kind of dipping in and out at this time. Did
Yeah,
you catch any of the Sea of Thieves demo?
I got to catch bits and pieces of it. I've been in the alpha, and obviously we can't talk about it, but I like what I saw out of this trailer. I've seen a lot more here than what I've seen in the alpha. So, like I said, I'm pretty much in line with Ben. I mean, there's a lot of potential here. From what I played in the alpha and what we see here, there's a lot of potential with this game. We got to see a little bit more than what we're used to seeing. So, I mean, there's a little bit more I think you can glean from this gameplay trailer that we saw. But overall, I want to know still overall scale and, what kind of benefits it is playing with the team over a long period of time. All that kind of stuff is the stuff I'm still curious about.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm intrigued to see more about the game. It's got an early 2018 date. Does that surprise you guys at all? Were you expecting this year for Sea of Thieves?
I was not expecting it this year.
No, nobody?
No,
Okay.
not really.
pretty much right in line with what we were thinking in terms of that. So early 2018 on that. So yeah, we'll just have to, I guess, I still think Microsoft's got work to do on that one to explain to people just what that game is and why they should be excited about it. This trailer, this demo looked cool for the 5 minutes that we saw, but it's still like, what is this game? Like, what is this about? What is the point of this game? So they've still got some work to do on that front. A couple other games we saw around the Sea of Thieves time were Frankie, why don't you talk a second about Code Vein? It's coming 2018. This is basically like an anime Bloodborne. Looks awesome. We got to see a short gameplay demo of it at the Microsoft conference, but this one looks like it has the potential to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. We saw, obviously it's a game, like you say, it's an anime game that definitely, like, has like the style of like a Dark Souls or a Bloodborne. Kind of going in there, you're fighting these really big monsters. I don't understand your character. Like I don't know because she has this weird. I think it's a she, right?
I think there's multiple characters. There's a she in there. It looks like there's another one too, like
Yeah.
a male vampire.
Yeah. At first, he kind of looks like Raiden from Revengeance,
Right.
which I that was pretty cool. But then the mask kind of transforms into this weird vampire-y looking thing. So I'm kind of curious to see how that stuff kind of plays into the game. Because obviously you're going through here and you're just, again, like Dark Souls going through fighting these really badass looking monsters and stuff. So I cannot wait to actually see more of this thing. Maybe actually see the game in action. I don't know how much of that trailer is, in-game footage or, in-game gameplay. So I'm glad it's coming to consoles because I think they were kind of vague about it when they announced it. They didn't announce any platforms or anything. So I can't wait to actually hear more about it. I can't imagine the name's going to stay the same. But yeah, it looks badass.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the combat sequences we watched, those look like those were like gameplay sequences. So the stuff outside of that, maybe not. But just the combat looks fast paced. There's a ravenous audience out here for these Dark Souls, Bloodborne style games, and as they make their way through Neo and the Surge, and Dark Souls and Bloodborne, they've already completed, so they're gonna want their next fix. So they've got to keep cranking these games out. Code Vein looks like a very cool take on the formula. Love the art style. Love the idea of being in a post-apocalyptic anime vampire setting with superpowers and all the stuff that goes into that. So keep your eye out for that game. It looks pretty snazzy. And then we saw Super Lucky's Tale, which was billed as a console exclusive, coming out November 7th. So it'll launch the same day as the Scorpio or Xbox One X. I thought this was kind of a strange reveal as well. Lucky's Tale was the Oculus launch game, the platforming 3D game that we heard about that some people like, some people didn't. But when you take it out of VR and just put it into a just normal platforming game, I don't know like what this game has going for it. This looks like a generic platforming game starring a fox. Did you guys get the same vibe from this? Is there anything that stood out to you about Super Lucky's Tale?
I don't know. I like platformers, so I thought it looks kind of cool. But
yeah, I mean, I like platformers too, Bender. But it's like it was kind of a strange reveal, man.
it did feel out of place.
Yeah.
Amongst all the other games they showed. But I don't know. I don't know. I might check it out at some point. Not sure what to think about it.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess I think it would be. Oh, sorry, Frankie. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's strange simply because this thing was a launch title for the Oculus, and it's coming over to the Xbox One X. And we talked about how the Xbox One X is going to be VR friendly. So why not bring out a VR version of this game? You know what? That's the only thing that was strange to me was, you've got this VR game, you're bringing it to the Xbox One X, but it's not. There's no mention of VR at all in this entire conference. So yeah, that part of it is strange. From a platforming perspective, I think this looks kind of cute. Looks kind of fun. It might have some cool characters. I have no idea, but it looks good. But I think the strange thing is the fact that this is a VR game that's not coming over to Xbox One in VR.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I felt like, if anything, this would have been a cool place in the conference to announce something with VR if they're gonna show this game. Obviously, the people who recognized it knew that's where it's from. So, I don't know. I'm with you. I think it's weird that they're taking that thing out of VR and just giving it a standard release. I don't really see the point in doing that.
Right.
So do you think this is just Microsoft doesn't know what they want to do with VR yet, or they're not ready to jump into VR yet?
I think it's a little bit of both. I know Phil's talked about not wanting to commit to VR because it doesn't seem like anybody has like a firm grasp on what VR should be, like what the experiences should be. But also he talked about how how diverse like the VR portfolio is out there for like the different platforms. So I don't know. I don't really I don't think they know quite what they want to do with VR yet. Like, I don't know if they have like a plan for whether they're going to do their own thing or if they're just going to incorporate Oculus or Vive or something. I personally think that makes the most sense because, he talked about how you have all these different platforms, but the technology is so new. You're kind of hurting yourself having all these different options for VR and not having a more unified system. So I don't know.
See, and I can't help but wonder if it's part of that, Frankie, but I also wonder if it's because, look, they just announced a $500 system. So obviously that rules out any kind of like, hey, let's also announce an Xbox VR headset. You don't want to throw that out there. That's an extra $400. So we just announced a $500 system. Plus, if you start pushing VR on Oculus and saying, hey, it works with Oculus Rift and HTC Vive, that means the Xbox person will be like, man, I got to go drop $900 on that to play VR on this thing. I think they're just focusing on, look, let's just talk about the Xbox One X right now, and let's worry about VR later. We're trying to sell a $500 console right now. Let's not add in additional costs of other hardware.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think that was, for some of us, like, that's the thing we want to see. That's the thing that differentiates it from the Xbox I already have.
Mm-hmm.
I can't play an Oculus or any VR on my Xbox One S.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, I can on my One X, but they don't want to talk about it. And I think that's something that, obviously, you guys, we talked to Jaffe, and obviously the developers are excited about VR. It's awesome. We've talked about it on our show. VR is awesome. Like, I think now is the time. If you're going to hop on that bandwagon, now is the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that go a little bit against the Xbox One X philosophy, though, as being the same as all the other family of consoles? If they were to come out with VR and it only be available on the Xbox One X, doesn't that kind of go against that message?
I don't think so. Not for VR. I think because that's essentially a different experience that isn't possible on the base level Xbox One S, I would imagine. I don't know. I'm not a developer.
To go along with it, the only time they've mentioned VR is with Xbox One X. It's the only time they've talked about it. The only time they've ever mentioned it's this thing will do VR. That's when they were talking about the Xbox One Scorpio at the time. This thing will do VR. They didn't mention anything about the One S or anything like that. The only time they've talked about VR is in conjunction with the Xbox One S or Xbox One X. I'm calling it Scorpio. Okay, look, I'm calling it Scorpio from now. I'm not going to try for the Xbox One X. Scorpio
that's
is.
Better name.
Yeah. So I see your guys' point on that. I still just think they're still, it's like their message is this is the same box. And even if it's a small group of people who are interested in VR, if they made VR only available on this system, there's still a group of people that are going to feel slighted because they have an Xbox that can't do that. Mm-hmm. So, all right, something else we got to spend some time on is Crackdown 3. So Crackdown 3 finally resurfaced after all these years. We had a cool Terry Crews intro to the game. Doing his he was basically in his Old Spice character, so he was shooting rockets and having a good old time. So Terry Crews is just an awesome dude. And then we got a release date for Crackdown, so November 7th it will launch alongside the Scorpio, as many of us anticipated the game would. This was a little bit of a strange reveal for me though. They didn't spend a lot of time on this. Terry Crews came out, they showed us a gameplay trailer, and then they moved on. This is another one of those things that like threw up a red flag for me. I'm like, man, it's like this is Crackdown 3. This is one of your big, like supposedly big IPs that you were talking about before. You come out, you throw up a quick video of some guys jumping around and shooting things, and then you just move on. Tell us nothing about the game. It makes me wonder, like, how confident are you guys in this game? Like, how much do you believe in Crackdown 3 at this point? Is this another one where you're just like, man, this has been in development for so long. You've been promising this to people. Like, let's just get this out and be done with this. But I thought we were going to get a lot more from Crackdown 3 personally. Brent, did you feel the same way?
Here's the reason I think that we didn't hear about a lot of these games, honestly, is because Microsoft was in a tough position for this E3. They had to do a lot to kind of like show gamers like, hey, look, we hear you. So first they gotta show us this console, this Xbox One X. They gotta announce the price. They gotta do the release date. Now they have to bring out the games. They have to bring a ton of games because that's always been the talk. If it's not the talk about the price, it's like, why do I need this thing if there are no games? Well, Microsoft had to bring all the games. And honestly, if they tried to break down this game more or Cuphead more or any of the other games that drew people's interest, we'd be looking at a 3-hour conference. So I think what they had to do is I understand Crackdown 3 is one of their big titles with this thing, but I just don't think they had the time to really slow down and be like, hey, look, let's do a demo of this game. Let's walk through this game. I think that in order to get all these games and that they're trying to show their fans, look, we got games, I think that's why we didn't see a whole lot from Crackdown 3 or from some of the other stuff. I mean, we saw enough from Crackdown 3, I think, to give you an idea of what it's about or what the gameplay is like. But obviously we don't know much about the game itself. But I think if you do that, this show would have been way too long with what they were trying to do with delivering the games.
I think, too, it's just the fact that we've seen, like, they've already revealed Crackdown 3. They've already revealed Cuphead. we already kind of have a pretty good idea of what these games are going to play like. So I kind of understand too, like to your point, like they don't need to go into like an extended, scenario with this. It's like with Bender said with Cuphead, like all he wanted to see was a date. And I think at this point, that's all they needed with Cuphead. That's all people have been asking is, okay, we want this. When can we get our hands on it? And I think it's the same with Crackdown 3. Like the Crackdown fans saw all the stuff in that trailer that they wanted to see, and that's good enough for them. They got their date, and I personally, like, I'm with Brent. Like, I think that was totally fine the way they did this one.
Bender, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. For these games that have been at multiple E3s and we've heard about ad nauseum, I think it's if they just come out and say, okay, here's a little bit of a gameplay trailer and here's a date, I think that's acceptable for those types of games. And Crackdown 3 looked pretty cool to me. It's something I might want to check out too. Lots of explosions and cool action. Looks pretty cool.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
Sorry, I was gonna say I hear you guys point on all that, but the only time we've ever seen Crackdown 3 was 2 years ago at E3 in that cinematic trailer that we saw for the game. And this is a game this is like one of their big franchises, and I didn't see anything in that Crackdown 3 trailer that made me be like, yeah, this is a game that we need to get behind for the Scorpio, or a reason to go out and purchase the Scorpio. I just think that, and they didn't reveal a lot of games that we didn't know were coming to the platform. So there wasn't a lot of like new games that we didn't know about. So if Crackdown 3 is going to be one of your games, it's going to launch alongside the Scorpio, I felt like you should have did some more to promote this game and show us why it's cool. I just didn't get that from the reveal there.
And honestly, I really just believe that that's just Microsoft in a tough position, trying to juggle a lot of different things in the show, trying to accomplish a lot of goals. So, I mean, I do agree with you, but I really just believe they just didn't have the time to really delve into the stuff without pushing this show to go on too long. They wanted to show. I think they just went over quantity over quality. Just show as many games as possible, even some of the bigger ones. Like, we didn't get to see a lot of Crackdown 3, but we got to see a lot of State of Decay 2. So, I mean, they focused on some games and they kind of hurried through some others, but I think that's just a byproduct of only having 90 minutes, and they went over that of having to show stuff. Guys, I got one question from a guy in the chat, Justin America. This is what he had to say. I thought it was strange that they didn't talk about the AR headset. I'm assuming he means HoloLens that they brought up last year. He goes, that would sell the Xbox X. I mean, I thought it was strange. We didn't see anything from the HoloLens.
Well, I think HoloLens, from what we know, I don't think there's any way this is a mass consumer product. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars for this device. I think it's of $3,000 for a HoloLens unit.
I think it's what we all thought it was going to be a couple years ago when they first showed it. We're like, man, this is going to be more used in like fields of engineers, medicine, stuff like that. I think you're right. I don't think the HoloLens is ever going to be like, oh man, I'm done with my PSVR, time to pop on the HoloLens. I don't think it's going to be anything like that, especially at the price you're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking thousands of dollars, and I've always felt that the application for this thing was outside of gaming. Outside of like the cool Minecraft demo we saw that one time. It's like I don't know what else you do with that thing or what potential it has inside of gaming. But yeah, at that price point, that's going to be. I mean, that's an impossible accessory to sell for a home console.
Yep.
Cool. So that's Crackdown 3. From there, we got a sizzle reel. So I mean, they just ran through like 15 games in here. I couldn't even keep up with any of them. So the one that stood out to me was Shift. I don't even know what it is. It's some kind of 2D action game, but I thought that looked cool. We saw Osiris, Raiders of the Unknown Planet. Is that what that game's called?
Raiders of the Broken Planet.
Broken Planet. Path of Exile, Unruly Heroes. So we got the sizzle reel there, and we saw Ashen after that as well, which looks really cool. That's a console launch exclusive. Showed up once again without a release date. After many years of waiting for that game, we saw that one a long time ago as well. What do you guys think about the way they handled ID at Xbox? I know Sony took some flack in recent years for not spending any time or as much time on the indie portion of their games. And ID at Xbox was on stage for all of 5 seconds. It was like, here's a sizzle reel. ID at Xbox has 500 games. Moving on. So, what do you guys think of the way they did that? Did you want to see more from any of this? Is this, was this cool? What did you think?
Go ahead, Brent.
Oh, I was going to say, again, it comes down to time. Would have loved to have seen some more indie stuff. I mean, indie games are fantastic. I don't care what anybody says. I know there's still a large group out there that just says indie games aren't games. You're wrong. I'm sorry, these games are awesome.
Yeah, that's BS.
Yeah, I don't even buy into that. I don't even take that stuff seriously when I hear it. But no, it's would have liked to have seen more. But even a Sony exec a little bit ago, I think it was Sean Layden that mentioned that indie games are starting to slow down a little bit. And so maybe we're starting to see that across all platforms. I mean, we're starting to see it across Xbox, and I mean, PC is probably never going to slow down with indies, but with the PlayStation, Xbox, and even maybe Nintendo Switch, maybe the independent scene is kind of slowing down a little bit. Maybe that's why we didn't see a whole lot from ID Xbox.
Well, there's just so many games now, Brent. I mean, we talk about it every week when we do the new releases on the podcast. And we're running down a list of new releases that there's 20 games on every platform, and there's 2 games that are AAA retail games, and there's 18 independent games. It's becoming an increasingly tough market to get in there and stand out. You have to become part of one of these play promotions or Summer of Arcade or one of these kind of things to kind of get your game out there. So it's becoming a tougher racket to get into on the console space now. I mean, on phones it's damn near impossible. There's 100,000 games on the App Store right now, and there's just a swelling number of games on Steam every single week. So I think there's really going to be a problem of discovery and in the independent space moving forward. We'll do our best to try and highlight the good ones here, like we always do. Frankie, you were Bender. Got any thoughts on this?
For me, I think a couple of those games were even in their sizzle reel last year. I know Raiders of a Broken Planet was last year.
Yeah.
But for me, the one game that stood out to me actually was, I think it was called Brawl. It literally looks like
Brawlhalla.
Is that it? It literally looks like a Smash Brothers game.
By the way, I actually just got the beta invite for that. Did any of you guys get into that by chance?
No,
Don't think
Probably
so.
not.
Yeah, check your junk folder. But I just got the invite for that. I was excited. I was like, oh sweet. I'm really looking forward to that game too. Brawlhalla looks awesome.
Wait, you're excited about it beta?
I'm not excited about a beta, but I'm excited for that game. and if I play the beta, we'll see. But I have an invite for it. So sorry, man. Continue on. So Brawlhalla, yeah, looks rad.
That's all I had. That was the
Cool.
big
That
standout
was
for me
the end. That was the end of the sentence. Okay.
Yeah.
Ben, anything from that sizzle reel stand out to you?
There was some things that looked pretty cool to me, but they was going so fast I didn't really I don't remember any of the names or anything. So, but there's several things in there that I was like, ooh, that looks kind of cool, but we'll have to learn more about those later, I guess.
Like, ooh, and it's gone. Okay.
Yeah, and it's gone.
Cool. All right, so moving on from there, a game I want to get Bender. I want to get your and Frankie's thoughts on this, but we saw Life is Strange, the new one, Before the Storm. This is the rumored prequel. It's coming out, the first episode, August 31st. It's a 3-part series. The rumor was that it was going to explore Chloe and Rachel, I believe are their names, prior to the events of Life is Strange. Is that something you guys are on board with? You excited to dive into this story? I know you're big fans of that game.
Yes, definitely. Frankie and I both love that game. That was one of our favorite games this generation, I think. Had an awesome story. So I'm definitely down to see more of these characters, even though it's not about Max, which means it's probably not going to have the time manipulation mechanics that the first game had. As long as it has a great story and everything, and it keeps me invested, I'll be down for it. So I'm really excited about that one.
Frankie, you agree?
Yep, absolutely. I probably gonna again wait until the last episode's coming out to play through them like I did with Life is Strange. But Bender, I know you're gonna play this too. I think we need to do another spoiler cast.
Yeah, definitely. Spoiler cast part 2.
So is this not Don't Nod developing this then? Is this somebody else?
I don't remember seeing a developer for it.
Yeah.
No, I think Don't Nod is working on a sequel, and this is another developer working on this prequel. That's if I understand.
Yeah,
it right.
I think those are the rumors. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys on board with them making this into a more expanded universe? Does it have the potential for that? Can it deal with that kind of expansion?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. They could, even if it's not dealing with the specific characters that they had in the first game. I think if they tell another story in that universe and they could focus on another character or new characters, if if it's as good a story as the first one had, then I think it'd be good. Whatever they do, I think it'll be cool.
Cool.
Mhm.
Right on. So from here we moved into basically like the meat of the conference, or the heart. This was like the big finale of the conference, starting with Shadow of War, which is an Xbox Play Anywhere title. It releases in October. It's been delayed out of its August month, as we learned recently, and the game just continues to look awesome. We saw a trailer starring Bruce, who's the orc version of Brent Felsing. Got to see him in action. I mean, what more can you say about Shadow of War? I mean, Talion, it has some awesome powers. Troy Baker's there voicing him. The ability to kind of build up your own orc army seems like it's going to be one of the defining mechanics in this game. The abilities that were on display just totally kick ass. I mean, Talion's abilities in the first Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor game were awesome. I love the Shadow Strike. I love teleporting across the map and slaying orcs in grand fashion. But his abilities here look like they've kicked it up even another notch with some of the powers and things that he has. Frankie, you're a huge fan of this series. What do you think about the Shadow of War stuff that we saw?
Continue to be really excited to get my hands on that game. I'm still really salty that they delayed it out of my vacation time, but
Dude, I'm
come
just
hell or
I'm
high
just
water.
mad I'm mad they moved it into the fall now. That's just
Yeah.
totally ruined.
Especially after Destiny 2, because
Yeah.
as much as I don't want to get sucked back into that game like I did the first one, I know it's going to happen. We were playing Destiny till like 4 in the morning last night, just like
Yeah.
that,
Yep,
So
just like that.
I'm come hell or high water, I'm going to do my damnedest to play that game. I'm just kind of like when we were talking about Assassin's Creed earlier. I'm now looking like the end of September, so it's now Cuphead, Battle Chasers, South Park, Shadow of War, and Assassin's Creed, all within the span of a month.
Yeah, and
That kind of sucks.
There's plenty more that's gonna happen there too. You know it.
Yeah, like those are all massive sounding games. So I'm like, I need to quit my job, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Brent, what'd you think about what you saw of this game, man? I mean, your character was in this game. You had to be excited about that.
Yeah, I've been waiting to tell you guys. It was hard to sit on that one for a long time. But the motion
capture work, everything. Yeah.
Everything is 1-to-1.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's only possible on the Xbox One X. So that's fantastic. But no, this game looks badass. But I just don't know when the hell I'm gonna play it. It's one of those games where I don't wanna start it and then have to get back to Destiny 2, maybe play something else. This is a game where I want to just sit down and play it. So I might have to wait till the winter for this one. But it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I'm with you. I absolutely love Shadow of Mordor. Really, really love that game, and been looking forward to Shadow of War all year. And man, it's a tough spot there in the fall. There's a lot going on just in general, especially in gaming. So I might have to wait to play that one as well, which is a heartbreaker. Then we officially got Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So
nice.
This has been rumored for a while now, and we saw a beautiful trailer for the game, accompanied by some really emotional, like moving music. That was excellent. Bender, I don't know what we can glean from this trailer. I didn't see Ori in the trailer, so I don't. Okay, yeah. I just missed him then.
Ori's the little white rat thingy.
Oh, okay.
Well,
who's the
comforting
big
owl?
All right. Well, I don't know anything about this game, so why don't you tell us about the Will of the Wisp? What you thought of it, man?
I thought it looks great. I've always loved the art style for that game. I loved Ori and the Blind Forest. That game was awesome. I beat that game. I thought it was great. It's beautiful. It's really fun. It's challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Metroidvania, so you get upgradable abilities that help you explore the map even more and more. So yeah, I'm really excited about playing another one. So yeah, I can't wait. I wish they would have given us a release date, but yeah, I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah, it's obviously an Xbox Windows exclusive game as well. So this one will remain on that platform. Brent, you're Frankie. Got any thoughts on Will of the Wisps?
I think it looks great. I really like the first one. I still haven't beaten it. That game gets tough. So I'm going to have to get back in there and finish it. I know I'm damn close to being done with it, but this looks great. I expect more of the same. I'm sure they'll add some stuff to it, but in terms of like presentation, this game will be aces.
Gotcha.
I'm not a big Ori fan. I didn't really get into the first game. Really love the music though, so I'm at least looking forward to adding a new soundtrack to my rotation.
There you go. So Frankie's in it for the soundtrack. All right. So from there, we moved into a brief section on backwards compatibility. So Phil mentioned 385 games are now available via backwards compatibility, Xbox 360 backwards compatibility on the Xbox One. And they mentioned half of the Xbox One players have, I'm guessing, at least started a backwards compatibility game at some point. So we don't have any figures outside of that. And then he dropped what many people have been clamoring for a while. The original Xbox will now get backwards compatibility in the near future here for the Xbox One. Crimson Skies, they mentioned, was coming. It'll launch later this year. We don't have any other games mentioned outside of that. Just something you guys are excited about. I personally don't have much of a connection to the original Xbox. I mean, there's a couple games in there I like Halo, but all those have been remastered. So anything on the Xbox original that you'd be excited about for backwards compatibility?
KOTOR.
KOTOR. That's a
Knights of the
that's-
Old Republic.
That's a great one.
That would be number one on my list.
Yeah, that's a perfect one. Definitely. Anything else stand out to you guys?
Wasn't the first Fable on the original Xbox?
Yeah,
It
but
was?
they remastered that on
Yeah.
Did they?
360.
Yeah, they have a
okay.
Fable anniversary on there now.
Let's see. Looking at my
Blinks
Xbox
the Time
shelf,
Sweeper.
There you go.
Michael Salt would be awesome. Jade Empire would be kind of cool to see come back. That was another Bioware joint.
Yep.
What else we got up here? I mean, if we start getting into third-party stuff, obviously Mafia 1 was on the original Xbox and PS2, so that'd be cool to be able to play now on an actual, like, one of the consoles. Well, I do have my Xbox hooked up, so. But, yeah, I mean, I guess depending how far they want to go with it, there's definitely a lot of cool games that I have on my shelf. I'm wondering if I can just pop my Crimson Skies disc in and it'll download a patch like it does for 360 and just work, or if I have to buy another one. I don't know how any of this is going to work, obviously, but I think it's cool. I think it's awesome getting to revisit some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like for the OG Xbox, they would have to like go back and kind of tinker those, right? They'd have to update the graphics on them and to make them playable on your modern display. So I don't know if
Yeah.
they'd be able to do disc compatibility for that.
Yeah, that's probably true. But the other thing I was thinking too is I don't think the original Xbox controller has bumpers. It's just triggers. Not that that matters if you're going back to those games, but I assume bumpers would make some of those games a little more easier to play.
Yeah, don't remember. I remember that controller was gargantuan and it was
Yeah.
just unwieldy. Yeah, but
I have it sitting right here. I'm just too lazy to reach over and grab it.
Gotcha. Then Phil mentioned, as anticipated, some 4K updates for some of the games like Halo Wars 2, Killer Instinct. I don't remember what Forza he said, but Gears 4. There's another
Horizon.
game on there.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon. Gears 4 is on there as well. There's another game that I missed, but
Rocket League, I think, was mentioned too.
yeah, Rocket League was in the third party portion, so they mentioned Final Fantasy 15, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Resident Evil 7, Rocket League. Those will be getting Scorpio or Xbox One X updates in the future. So basically the same stuff we've been seeing from the PS4 Pro. Same type of patches. Like we can expect those for some of the big Xbox One games as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then this was the portion of the show where they dropped the price on us.
Mm-hmm.
So Phil, at the end of this section, he's like, November 7th, you can get the console. He mentioned the price drop, which is a limited time price drop, only going this week. So that was incorrectly reported beforehand. So if you haven't seen the correction for that, the Xbox One S, $50 off, only certain bundles for this week. So then he just dropped the $4.99 price on us, and then just moved on very quickly from that.
They didn't even
put it on the screen. Yeah. Phil was like $4.99, and let's get into Anthem. What you guys think about the way they did that? Was that them just trying to get away from a price that they know is going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people?
I wonder if Phil was trying to avoid the last time he announced a price for the Xbox One, where you could just hear a pin drop. But he got a nice rousing ovation. So I mean that was probably promising. But he probably didn't want to stick on it for too long. I mean he's said before in the past this is going to be a premium priced console. $4.99 says premium price. So they probably didn't want to get into it. Just say, hey, look, it's $4.99. Thanks to Keeley, we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. So there you go.
Man, there was a large swelling of people though in these past few weeks that they were really convinced that this thing was going to launch at $3.99.
Well, what was that newspaper clipping that came out that showed the robot? Where did that come from?
It came. There
was it from one of those one of those trailers that Microsoft was putting out? Was it in there? Okay, and so people saw build this for $400, and everyone thought that it's $400.
Yeah, well, what happened was there was this code in one of the trailers, and people took the code, and eventually when they punched it in somewhere on Google or something, it ended up bringing up this ad for building a robot in the past that was build this robot for under $400. And this may have just been a bizarre coincidence, but it was one of these things where people were, I think, reaching too much in terms of what that meant. That code could have meant anything. A lot of people thought it meant the release date, which didn't turn out to be. But they had 10, 13, 17 in that code as well. But it was one of those things where it just turned out to be a bizarre coincidence, I think, where it somehow led them to that ad. So
That's strange.
I don't know. What were you, Bender, Frankie, what were your thoughts on the $4.99 section here?
I thought it was fine. I mean, it's kind of what we expected, a lot of us anyway. So yeah, I'm giving you your point here. Don't worry. But yeah, it was fine, and I don't blame them for kind of just throwing it out there and moving on. It's not something you really need to dwell on. The people who are going to buy it are going to buy it regardless of the price, and if $4.99 is too much for some people, then that's fine. They say it's a premium console. I don't think they're expecting it to have a mass market appeal. It's definitely aimed at a very specific type of gamer, so that's fine. I'm sure they'll get what they can get out of those sales.
Frankie, let me ask you this: did you almost get the feeling that maybe they were a little bit unconfident in this price with the way they delivered it? It's almost like they were like, I don't really know how this is going to go over. I'm not too confident. Instead of just going out there like, look, this is the most powerful console ever. Like, we've told you this. Like, this is all the stuff that's inside of here, and you're getting all of this for $499. Instead, they kind of sheepishly threw out the $4.99 at the end there, and then tried to kind of mask it with an awesome like Anthem demo. Well, did you get a similar vibe from that?
Yeah, actually, I did. It's just the way he delivered it. It was kind of I feel like he has a tone to him when he's out there talking. You know, he has a very confident air about him, and him just kind of casually being like, for $4.99, like, it was, you could tell like and I know he's very active on Twitter. You know, a lot of these Xbox guys are tweeting him constantly. He knows, a lot of these people were expecting it to come in at $3.99. So I think it was kind of, it's $4.99 Anthem. So
right.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe too.
I think Frankie's onto that. I think, Phil's very active on social media, and when Keighley posted that, a couple hours in advance, I'm sure that, Microsoft had their people looking at the responses, gauging interest, seeing people's reactions, and, it was kind of a mixed bag. I mean, most people understood, hey, look, even at $4.99, you're getting a nice, strong system, a system that has some great specs for a decent price, compared to, like, PC gaming. But I'm sure, Phil realized that, hey, look, there's people out there that aren't going to be too happy about this, that were really hoping for a $3.99 entry. And like I said, when you know that it's still going to be, it's not as bad. Like, now, had he come out and said $5.99 or $5.49, I would have expected it really quick, like $5.49. All right, here we go. I mean, it was just and put up a shield or whatever. But no, yeah, I think I'm sure he just knew it. Hey, look, man, the price, it probably made it easier. With Keighley putting it out there a couple hours before, it honestly probably made it a lot easier. You're like, okay, look, everyone knows $4.99. All right, let's move on.
A lot of people think they gave Keighley that information and just had him put it out there.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah,
it just and that just seemed weird. Like, why would Keighley just out that? I thought that was strange, but at the same time, maybe it was just simple. You just heard it from somebody, or like you said, maybe Microsoft saying, "Look, man, this thing's $4.99. You throw this out there a couple hours prior just to see if we need to put a Kevlar on Phil when he goes up on stage."
Yeah, so it could have been one of the. Could have been one of those things. Could also just been Keighley doesn't work for Microsoft, so if he has this information, he doesn't have to hold it close to the vest. He doesn't care. Like,
right.
He's got his thing that he's doing. If he's got some information, he's going to share with people. But,
did I see on Twitter that there's a petition going around asking for Keighley to be fired because he put that out there?
Probably.
No, they were asking for him to be sued by Microsoft.
And Keighley's probably just sitting back going, "Get out of here, man!"
Yeah, so that was hilarious.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, from the $4.99 price, they moved into the finale of the show, which was the official unveiling of Anthem, BioWare's next game. and we saw a very, very cool gameplay section of this game. Your game looks totally rad. You have an exosuit, which, as Frankie so astutely pointed out, reminds us all of Iron Man. So, and one of the things that's very difficult to get correct in video games, and very few video games have been able to accomplish this, oddly enough, is flight or character flight. You know, planes and spaceships and all that stuff is one thing, but to be able to take a character and to go from the ground to flight and to be able to get that mechanic to work and feel good is something that's been very difficult to master. So that's one of the things that excited me most about watching this Anthem demo is that flight looked pretty cool. Now, it could just be these developers have been playing the game, you know, for years, and they've been making it, and they just know how to do it. But it looked really intuitive. It looked fun. It looked pretty easy to manage. And, yeah, so we saw some combat in this game. Definitely has some Mass Effect feel to some of the encounters. We saw this kind of sprawling world that you're going to. We saw drop-in, drop-out co-op, 4-player co-op at portions. We saw some loot being picked up. We saw some of the Destiny elements that have been rumored about this game. So, yeah, all in all, beautiful looking title. Very, very intrigued by this. Can't wait to see more of Anthem. What do you guys think, Brent?
Dude, first of all, I'm going to go back to that flight for a moment. That was nuts. Like when they started that trailer and they jumped down, kind of go down into that tunnel, I was like, no, just fly around out here for a while. Fly out in the open. Let's get a good look at the land. I mean, the flight just looked really, really good. And then obviously we get into the combat and you see this huge the thing that you called a turtle yesterday. That huge turtle that comes hulking at you like a maniac. And
He was
then
of reptilian origin.
that thing was a beast. But you had the underwater traversal. You had a lot of cool stuff in this trailer, and yeah, I'm very, very interested in this game.
Yeah. Bender, huge Mass Effect fan. This is BioWare's next joint. Dark sci-fi universe, Iron Man flavor. Like we said, we saw them flying underwater. We saw some gorgeous environments. We saw a storm that looked awesome. Some just a really cool looking title, man. What do you think of this Anthem reveal?
I'm pretty excited about it. It looks awesome. 4-player squads. That'll be so much fun to get the 4 of us in there and flying around like Iron Man. I want to fly around like Tony Stark. be awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely a loot game going on there. You know, at one point she gets this loot pack and it opens up and she gets a legendary gun or something. So that's really cool. They come across this like cave or something and it has like a name and they're like, it's obviously some sort of dungeon or something that they can explore.
Yeah.
They're like,
they get XP for that as well for discovering that.
Oh, we'll come back to this when so-and-so is with us. He needs the XP, so they move on, do something else. Obviously, some upgradable weapons and stuff with your mech suit that you can get new weapons. Like that guy was like, oh, I just got this mortar last week. So he was able to use that and blow things up. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on in that trailer. It got me excited. I'm definitely looking forward to checking this game out when it comes out.
Frankie, Anthem, super cool looking title, man. What were your thoughts on this demo?
Yeah, this is probably coming in today. This is one of the things I was probably the most excited to see, just because that teaser yesterday looked awesome. But yeah, dude, you have Destiny elements. You're flying around like Iron Man, which is awesome. The combat looks like it's going to be a great time. It's like Bender mentioned, we got some awesome loot to chase after. So I enjoy that part of Destiny. I think that's a really cool aspect of that game. But one of the things that really made me happy was when they first were about to head out and jump out of the city. I think they mentioned that you can have multiple suits.
Oh, wow.
So like you have these different, customizable suits that you have for like whatever you're going to be going to do. It sounds like you can actually have like different suits, different marks, if you will. So
yeah, they called them javelins.
Yeah.
Name of their suits.
Oh, yeah.
Jarvis.
Cool.
Javelins. Javelins.
Making the connection there. So yeah, so it was a great way to end the conference on a high note. Anthem seriously looks awesome. They said everything was in game in the engine as well. So everything looked like gameplay. So this is not an exclusive title, so we'll be on PlayStation platforms as well, assumingly on the PC as well. So yeah, shaping up great. What did they say? Fall 2018
Fall
on the
2018.
Twitter, the Twitter account. So in 1 year from now, we could be flying around like Iron Man in javelin suits.
I can't wait, dude. This looks so good.
Yeah, does does look really, really good. So so that was it. That was the big finale for the Microsoft conference. So let's wrap this up, man. Bender, parting thoughts on what you saw from Microsoft here. Sum it up, man. What were your thoughts on the entire conference?
I thought it was great. I wanted them to bring the games, and they brought the games. I think they it was really chock full of cool titles, stuff we knew about and stuff we didn't. Some of the exclusives I'm really excited for. So I think they did their job well on this one. So it got me excited about the future of Xbox.
Cool. Franklin, sum up your final thoughts on the conference here.
Honestly, I think this has probably been one of Microsoft's best conferences to date. Whether we're just talking about the exclusive that they announced or even the third-party stuff. I was happy to finally see Assassin's Creed in action.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going crazy when they were showing Metro. Like I love Last Light. I love 4A. I think they're a very talented team. So getting another game in the Metro universe is awesome. Anthem completely blew me away. That's kind of exactly what I was hoping to see. Destiny, Iron Man, that just like really sealed the deal for me. So that game just jumped up to the top of my anticipated 2018 list. But yeah, overall, obviously you have your kind of cringy things like the damn esports shoutcaster. Is that they call him a shoutcaster?
Yeah. So stupid.
Yeah, like thank you. I don't want to listen to that on my stream. I don't know how people find that entertaining, but whatever. But even Forza, like even though I'm not a big sim racer fan, I think Forza 7 looks incredible. I actually do kind of want to give that game a shot, even though I'm typically not one to get into those. So, but yeah, this is an excellent show. A lot of really great stuff, and it's a lot of stuff to be excited about.
Brent, sum up your thoughts on this show.
I thought it was a strong show. I liked what I saw. Like you said, lots of games. As a tech whore, I'll trade in my Xbox One S and I'll grab a Scorpio. I don't mind that. I think it's, I want to see how these games look, especially the first party stuff. When we start to see more of these down the line, I really want to see how these look on the Scorpio. Like you said, though, with how many games they tried to show off, I do agree that some of the bigger titles that I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from, could have used a little more airtime, maybe a walkthrough, maybe somebody on stage describing, a little more in depth about what these games are about, specifically Sea of Thieves and Crackdown 3. But everything else, it was just a nice bunch of games. I like seeing that a lot of these older titles, Xbox One titles, even some third-party stuff is going to get updated for the Xbox One X. So I thought it was a really strong show. They did a great job at presenting a lot of games, a lot of good content. The Xbox One X will be utilized in many ways. The backwards compatibility stuff, again, I will stand. It's not for me. I don't have enough time to play backwards compatibility games. The convenience is awesome, though. I do appreciate that. I understand there's a lot of people that will take advantage of that. But overall, strong show, much better than last year, and a lot of good stuff coming up. And I'm excited for the Xbox One X.
Cool. Yeah, I thought it was a solid conference. We saw a lot of cool stuff in here. Obviously, Anthem was a standout. The Xbox One X was exactly as I predicted, and I stand by the fact that with all of the innards in that thing for $499 seems like a great price for a console that can do the things that thing can do. Mm-hmm. So that kind of went all as anticipated. And while we saw a lot of cool stuff, a lot of the coolest stuff we saw is also coming to PlayStation. So Metro is going to be on there. Anthem is going to be on there. Assassin's Creed is going to be on there. And, a lot of the indie titles, too, that were console first, like The Last Night and like The Artful Escape and some of these other games are going to be on PlayStation eventually. I just didn't see a compelling enough reason to jump into an Xbox One X. Like, I didn't get that from this conference. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see more from Crackdown, from State of Decay. I don't know. I just think that's not my kind of game. Still don't know what Sea of Thieves is really. So Crackdown I thought was something that could really speak to me. That's a kind of game I would jump into and really play superpowers and jumping around buildings and that kind of stuff. I wanted to see a lot more from that game and I didn't get that. So I don't think they built a compelling enough reason of why you needed to upgrade to an Xbox One X. I didn't see it in this conference. A lot of the coolest stuff I saw is going to be on other platforms as well. But the games were cool that they showed, And like you mentioned, Brent, and like we talked about, I would have liked to have seen them spend more time on some of these games. Let's take out an extended session for Super Lucky's Tale, and let's spend some more time on Crackdown 3. Like let's take out, even though it's cool, but Dragon Ball Fighters and Code Vein, like these third-party games we've already seen unveiled. Like let's take those out and let's spend some more time on Crackdown 3. Like let's get into some of these games that I really wanted to see Microsoft hone in on the first party, and I didn't see them do that here. So, solid conference overall, but I wanted to see more. So, final thoughts here. Scorpio day one. Anybody besides Brent? Nope. Cool.
Jeez. All right.
All right. So that's gonna do it for us here. Twitter handles are right there. Check us out at the Short Pause. Follow our E3 coverage all week. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here, Short Pause Gaming on YouTube. We've got all of our live streams and reaction videos. We got live reaction coming up here, and this one will go off without a hitch for the Bethesda conference tonight at 12 p.m. Eastern. So at midnight we'll be going live for the Bethesda conference. We'll come back with a reaction video on that as well. And then of course we got Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo still to come. So make sure you stay locked in to the channel here, and so you don't miss a thing. So that's Brent, that's Bender, that's Frankie. I'm Ben. We'll see you guys later tonight for the Bethesda conference. Thanks for watching.
See you guys.
See ya.
Yeah.